Oh, he's alive! It's alive! It's alive! Oh, he's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Total number of cylinders. They don't have to be running, but you didn't estimate.
It's got to be pushing 60 or more.
Okay, that's a great number.
It's got to be. It's between, I mean, everything I own has a V8 except for my wife's V6 car. That's her daily driver. So, and then there's, you know, snowblower, lawnmower, weed whip, chains. It's got to be pushing 50 plus 60, right in that range.
Decent. Yeah, man.
So
yeah, props to you.
I've got more cylinders than probably property to put them on, but
I have that problem
that's my
too.
friend's problem because I start stacking them out there.
I love it. Well, guys, welcome back to the Piece of Grease channel. I'm Flannel Phillip. Behind the camera is Sinclair, and today we're sitting down with Simon from Simon Says Garage. Simon, what's your last name? I should know.
My last name is Havokin.
Cool.
So
awesome. And where are you from, man?
My backstory is quite deep. I'm actually from New Zealand originally. I wasn't even born in America. So my family immigrated here when I was about 10. We lived in California for a stint and we followed the country across to Minnesota and here we are.
That's awesome. Very cool.
So,
well, and we can get into more of your backstory and stuff like that too as we dive in.
Absolutely, man.
Love it. So tell us about what you brought in today. Give us the 30-second version of what this build is.
This is my 1951 Ford Shoebox that I built for the 2024 Rat Rod Magazine build-off. So that ended September of last year. So I built it in 10, 11 months-ish.
Cool.
By myself in a 2-car garage. So
I love that because there was some stipulations on that competition.
There was.
I mean, your hat says no rules, so we can't really say there were rules, but there were like, you know,
guidelines.
Yeah, guidelines.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. And there was an honor system that went along with that build.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. You couldn't start it before it was allowed to be started. You had to stay within budget. Safety items were okay. And you had to be at the location on time, ready to run, and do a drive with it and the whole 9 yards. Out of 300 and some entries, I'm not sure exactly, 42 made it. So the fact that I made it with a car that I wanted, I was happy.
That's huge.
Absolutely.
2 of us are right here of the
42.
What'd you say, 42? 2 of us. Yeah, man.
Yep. It's an impressive commitment and feat to complete.
Absolutely.
So
well done. And it's still running. Mine is not. So
it went under the knife again this winter because I'm never usually happy with what I build. So I always try and improve, and
I get it.
We just keep going.
Everything's a work in progress, right? It's never
absolutely.
Actually done.
Yeah, no, especially not my stuff. Like I have no problem taking a car I've got running and driving on the road and completely disassembling it and rebuilding it.
It's awesome.
It's dumb.
So 1951, they didn't come with this engine or pretty much anything that you've done to this right now. So,
yeah, no, this is full on custom.
I love it. Start where you want to begin. Like,
so I'll just tell you what it is. So it's a 51 Ford Shoebox custom. It has full air ride suspension on it now. It has an Explorer out of the 90s, 95-ish Explorer rear end. It has a S10 snub frame from a 96 S10 on the front for the front suspension. It has a 2002 Powerstroke out of a Ford Excursion that I bought locally here that had been rolled over, and I had to get that thing running and everything before I even pulled the motor out. I wanted to make sure it ran, but it was pretty. Yep, that would be it. Yep, she's pretty banged up. So the story goes, the guy rolled it over, and then it sat out in a field for I don't know a few years before it ended up not being used for anything, and then I found it on Marketplace right down the road. So I had to disassemble that, basically dissect the body off of it and strip it down and get the motor running. So there's not a lot of information about Powerstroke swaps. like there are with LS swaps.
I bet. Yeah.
So it was a lot of learning and wiring and going, oh crap, that's not going to work, and figuring out solutions. So
ask any car guy, what's something that you'd like to change in your build? And I guarantee he'll say something about the electrical wiring, because just like going shoe shopping with your girl, it can feel overwhelming and hopeless. But great news, the Piece and Grease podcast is sponsored by WireCare. They've got all the connectors and terminal ends, sleeving, heat shrink, zip ties, and all the tools to make your project's electrical wiring something to be proud of and show off at the next cruise night, because it's done safe and organized and done right. We're excited to be working with WireCare at the Piece and Grease HQ, so go check out their products and tools at wirecare.com.
Guys, just wanted to remind you to head on over to pieceandgreasecollective.com. Check out our merch over there. We got exclusive designs by Sinclair. You can check some of these things out. So cool. And if you head over to Patreon, you can join Patreon for free for $5 a month, or if you join the $20 a month, you're gonna get a t-shirt every single month. So check that out. That was a four-wheel drive excursion.
Four-wheel drive excursion.
And so what'd you do for your transmission?
So the transmission that is in this car now is out of a 99 F350 that I found down in Iowa for like, I don't remember, it was cheap. I had to make a 4-hour drive one way to go get it, but it was a 2-wheel drive transmission that ran, and I said, I hope it works, because I bring it back and we'll put it in, and that's what's in there still. So
wow. And so yeah, there's a picture of the Expedition literally being cut off of the frame.
Yep, I had to, otherwise I couldn't. I live in town, so I don't have a lot of equipment for moving stuff like that around. So for me to manage it, I have to bring it down to a size that I'm able to work with. So
wow. And you're not using a hoist. It's up on jack stands.
Yeah, it's on jack stands right now.
Wow. That's incredible, man. So you cut it off with a plasma? And
plasma, Sawzall, cutoff wheels, whatever. I basically got the motor running in its factory situation, and then I started stripping the harness out of it and the computer out of it. I'd get it to a stage, and I'm like, let's make sure it still starts and runs.
That's smart.
So I don't go too far, because I've done things like that before. So then I strip it further, and then I got it running in the frame, and then I got it out of the frame and sitting on the floor and got it running on the floor. And
wow.
And then it got in the car and started stripping the harness back as much as I possibly could. It took a long time.
Oh,
it was so much time.
Wow. You had to be just swimming in wires.
Oh, it was so bad.
Diagrams and oh man.
It was so bad. But I got it figured out. And like, as you can see, it runs and drives today. So
wow. Great job, man. The transmission, is it electronically controlled? So you had to.
It is. Okay. So things I learned after I did all this is this is a 4R100 transmission, needs a speed signal from the rear end. There's 2 sensors on the transmission, and it needs the cluster to work.
Wow.
Well, I wasn't running the factory rear end in it anymore.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any of that harness, because I didn't think I needed any of that.
Sure.
So I ended up having to bite the bullet, and was probably the biggest expense other than the motor itself was buying a standalone controller for the transmission. Oh, and that sucked. But, and I think honestly, I think I could have figured out a solution and made something work around for it. I didn't have the time because I had a deadline I had to meet, and we were running out of time, and I just ate more of the budget up. I came in under budget, so it worked out, but it just, I was trying to be really under budget. And it is what it is. So it does have an electronic transmission standalone controller controlling the transmission.
Got it. Okay.
So.
And then did you have to build a drive shaft then?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I just had a drive shaft laying around, and then when I got out of the Excursion, and I just found yokes that work and got conversion joints and shortened it to what I need and put her all together.
You did it yourself? Just welded it up? And
oh yeah, she's super balanced.
Nice, dude.
It doesn't vibrate, and it doesn't throw any huge vibrations going on the highway at all. So
it works.
It's got to be close-ish. You know,
yeah.
I've made a few drive shafts now, and it seems like as long as you get the yokes really good, and I'm not building some high horsepower drag race application. Yeah. And if it did vibrate, I would just cut it apart and try again. It's just what I would do.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So then it's chopped. It's chopped 5 inches in the front, 6 inches in the rear.
Okay.
And it's got suicide doors.
That's
so
awesome.
Everything I have done to this car to this point, I had never done before.
Wow. This was your first time?
This is my first time doing First time doing air ride suspension. First time doing a section of frame swap like that. First time doing any kind of diesel conversion or anything other than just a daily driver maintenance diesel. First time chopping like that. And the first time doing suicide doors ever. It was stupid because I was trying to build a car for a competition, and I am stubborn, and I wanted to make sure I was building something that I wanted, not just something for a build-off, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm super happy with the car. Just
awesome.
Decisions were made that probably shouldn't have been made.
So if you could go back in time,
I would do it 100% the same way.
Would you? Okay.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
If I was to do it again, I would probably do something crazy. I like to put things together that were never supposed to be together. It's just kind of what I like to do. I got a 4x4 Bel Air, you know. I mean, I got a Model A with an RV motor that with a supercharger on it. It's just, dude, I just like to put things together that weren't ever really supposed to be that way. Yeah. Yeah,
there's some right there. That is so cool. And so, have you always been that way? Were you the kid that was doing that to your bicycles when you were younger?
You know,
kid bashing Lego. I mean,
honestly, I was always the kid that wanted to, but was always too scared to be honest. It was a lot of, you know, worrying about what people are going to think, and you know, it's kind of, and that's kind of how I even got into starting to build rat rods. I have a Nova that I had not restored, but kind of make a street machine. I painted it myself, put the vinyl top on it myself, put a big block motor in it. So I was pretty proud of that car, and I started taking it to some shows, and I started getting people come up to me like pointing obvious issues out with it that I already knew about.
Sure.
You know, like the bodywork's not perfect. I've never done bodywork before. I don't want to pay people to do things, so I'm going to try and do it myself. And it kind of turned me away from going that direction with building more stuff. I'm like, well, I'm just going to build what I want if it doesn't going to matter.
Yeah.
There you go. And that's how we got to where we are today.
Kind of shying away from the shiny stuff and getting more into, hey, let's just
build.
Just build, leave the welds.
And I have an appreciation, even though it drives me nuts on my own stuff when things aren't perfect. I have an appreciation when I see it out in public, like you can see the work that went into this. It doesn't have to be perfect. I dog on my own stuff, but I appreciate it when I see other people's work.
Very cool.
So
I love that, man.
Yeah.
Very cool. It's slammed on airbags. What do you have for brakes? Is it just like the stock S10 brakes in the front?
Yep, it's stock S10 in the front, and then it's the stock Explorer axle brakes in the rear.
Yep. Okay.
And then it's got the Hydro Boost from the Excursion I put in there. So
no problems with like how calipers are working, where
everything works.
Everything works. You just bleed it out and it's working great. That's awesome.
Yeah, she'll stop. Whether they'll last as long as they would if they were on an S10 and an Explorer, I don't know. That's just parts.
That's cool.
Whatever.
So did you lift the body off the car to do all the framework?
Yep, completely removed the body. For me, it was just going to be easier because I don't have a lift or anything, and laying underneath the thing day in and day out, it just was not going to jive for me. So
makes sense.
I figured I was going to have to cut the firewall out for everything, and then the floor was so rotten. It was way more rotten than I was expecting. That was going to have to all come out, so just take the body off the frame. It was just easier. And then we can see, I C-notched the rear of the frame and 4-linked it, and
cool.
Did all that.
What was the suspension in the rear with the 4-link? Was that a kit, or did you make like the Heim joints?
It was a kit from Air Slam It.
Okay.
It was just quicker and easier. I'd never really done that before. I had my buddy in town come over and help me kind of like, I'm not real good with exact measuring, so I wanted somebody that's a little more detail oriented to help me with that part of it. He came over and he helped me, we got it all lined up and tacked up and put her in.
Nice, man.
So
that's cool. And then the S10 front end, that I know a lot of people have airbagged those before as well too. So is it still stock spindles in the front?
It is right now.
Okay.
I have 2-inch drop spindles that I may put on.
Oh, wow.
I saw it in my garage one day. I'm like, that front end's got to come down more. So I bought 2-inch drop spindles. And then I pulled it outside and I'm like, maybe it's okay.
Yeah.
So I've got them if I want to put them on. I just haven't decided yet. But as of right now, it is the factory spindles on there.
Cool. When you were getting ready then to drop the body onto the frame, did you cut all the floors out? Like
floor.
Okay.
100, all the floor, all the firewall, everything's gone.
You just got the height that you wanted. It's like when the suspension is completely deflated, and then you decided, okay, I want my rockers right here.
That's what I should have done.
Okay.
I mean, that's probably what I should have done. So I cut out the floors, except for so before I cut the floors out, I guess I'd welded in some body location mounts, so like I could relocate the body to save time getting the body squared up. I could just bolt it right back where it was. So the body's sitting on the factory mount locations.
Oh, okay.
So that's where that body would sit from the factory on the frame.
Oh, okay.
I had done the suspension thinking that it was going to sit as low as I wanted to, until I drove it the first time and realized my tires in the rear were way too small for the gears that I had, the transmission I had, and the motor RPM range.
Got it.
So when I changed my tire size, it ended up actually making it sit way too high in the rear because they were so much smaller. These are mistakes you learn and go from there. But so that's why this winter I actually went and lowered the rear suspension 4.5 inches. So I went even farther than I originally had planned.
Got it.
So that's now she's a tail dragger now.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, you can actually like throw sparks if you're.
Yep. I'm the goal is to.
Okay.
I'm just not there yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there. That's awesome. I'm gonna put sparks pads on it. So
love it. And so you basically had to make your own tubs in the back and things like that in order to.
Yep. So I basically cut the wheel wells out. I raised them up 2 inches and welded them back in and kind of just patched them all in.
Cool.
So
cool.
Had to make them work. They weren't fitting otherwise.
Yeah.
So.
The glass, is that the original glass that came with the car?
The rear glass is original. That is the original glass from the car.
Okay. The
front glass is just windshield glass that I had cut and glued in. So.
Okay. You had a friend cut it for you?
Nope. Just a shop over in Red Wing, Minnesota that does glass, and they do laminated glass. And
cool.
The pieces are pretty small and they're flat, so it was relatively cheap.
Perfect.
So I've done the Lexan, I should say, before, and it just doesn't stay very clean. For a side window, my side windows are all Lexan, but for the windshield, if any oil residue gets on there, and being it's the Powerstroke, it can have some residue come out of it. So I just figured I'm just gonna put glass up there and be done with it.
Sure. Yeah.
So
it looks great, man. The chrome came with the car, the bumpers, that
yep,
was
that's all factory part of the car.
It.
Yep, that's
cool.
Exactly the way I got it. As you saw in that first picture when I was sitting out in the grass, I bought this car for $400. It was probably 2 years ago now. In November of 22, I just came up on Marketplace, and for $400 I couldn't. Yeah. I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I knew I couldn't let it go. And then it sat in that location until I pulled it in November of 23 to build it for the build-off.
Cool.
So
cool. That's awesome. Now I can tell just going from the photo to there, you changed like the angle of the pillar.
I did.
Things like that, just to give it the look that you wanted.
Yep.
That's really cool.
Some people keep them straight. Some people like eliminate them completely. I just thought that angled B pillar looked more aggressive, and
absolutely.
I wanted to try and do it.
Yeah.
Piece it in.
Good for you, man. That's really cool. Love it. Tell me about the interior.
So the interior, thanks to Travis Nord from DX Customs, he's like, "You want to try bead rolling?" I'm like, "Yeah." We were just kind of talking, and I want to try it. Here, come take mine. So literally, I went down there. He handed me his bead roller, all his dies, some Clecos. I'd never used any of that stuff. I never thought I was going to be good enough to use any of that stuff. He's like, showed me how to do it, gave me a quick little lesson. I went home, and I should have stopped sooner, but I just kept going. I just literally bead rolled every panel in there. I never had a dash in it last year. I never had door panels, never had rear panels. Okay. None of that was in there last year. And then because I bead rolled, once I started, I couldn't stop.
Man,
so
that's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah.
Very cool. So it's definitely like you're learning as you go, and this is your palette. This is what you're doing your artwork on.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
That's so cool. I love that. shoot, I lost my train of thought again. That happens way too often. Yeah. Am I forgetting something about the build off? That's where I was going to go with this. This is part of why editing is so nice sometimes, because it can. Thank you. Some of the stipulations for the build off were, like you said, a time schedule, but it was also budget and things like that. So you had to keep track of receipts or that type of thing. Like it was honor system, or
it was kind of it was an honor system. I actually never got asked about how much I spent.
Okay.
So I don't know if they thought I was over or thought I was under. I don't know. I came in at like $42.75 or maybe it was $46.75. It was somewhere in that range. I was between $4,000 and $5,000 with tires. So
perfect.
I thought I did pretty good on the budget end of it.
Yeah.
So I was pretty happy.
That's awesome. And like you're able to get the lights working, get things wired up, like all that kind of stuff. Does it have a standalone like wiring system for your lights and all that, the wipers and stuff like that?
So wipers, we don't.
Oh, okay. You don't need those. Yeah.
Rain X, it's fine.
Perfect.
So the engine harness and the transmission harness, it's all kind of its own separate thing. Yeah. And then I've got a harness in there strictly for running the lights, the fans, and everything like that. So there's it's essentially there's two harnesses in there.
Okay.
There's probably a way you could meld it all together. I just did what I could and what I had available to do.
Yeah.
So and it all works.
That's probably smart. Keep the powertrain harness, on this side, and keep your lights, and just keeps it simple that way. Right?
Well, simple-ish, yeah. It takes a lot of wires for that motor. More than I was expecting.
When we were riding together, you have not only some gauges for your,
airbags
and stuff like that, but you also have a flat screen, like a touch screen in there.
Yep.
I was like, whoa, tell me about that. So dive into that a little bit.
So that's a Samsung tablet. It's an older version I got off a website on the internet. It's a remanufactured one. It runs off of my Bluetooth OBD2 reader. So it pulls all the information from my PCM, from my oil temps, my oil pressures, the speed, RPM, throttle position, map sensor for boost. It gives me all my vital information I need all in one location, and I can edit it and change the gauge setup however I want. I did not want to run the stock cluster, was my biggest thing. And there are other options that you can plug into your OBD2 to have more modern gauges and have everything work the way you want. They're just really expensive. And half the reason I end up doing the stuff I do myself and learning how to do it is 'cause I'm not going to pay for that.
Yeah.
As much as I really want some of that cool stuff, it's just not, I just can't bring myself to do it. So this was a pretty cheap alternative I found. I mean, it works off of a $5 app I bought, and it's set up that when I turn the power on to the tablet wakes up, the app fires up, and it all automatically links. So I wanted it as no touch as possible, because I didn't want to, like, every time I start the car, I got to go push buttons and slide. And I literally just turned the power that I got wired into that tablet on, and it does it all for me.
Wow.
So and so far it's working really well.
You've definitely done your homework to figure out, like, I know what I want, so I need to figure out a way to make that happen.
I mean, that's kind of what all building cars is, isn't it? I mean, this is problem A, and let's fix problem A, and then we'll move to problem B, and whatever may come from it. That's kind of how I look at what I'm building.
I love it. Yeah, professional problem solving.
Pretty much. Maybe not the best way to solve some of them, but, we'll get there.
That's super cool. Is this what you do? I mean, what's your job?
So my career is I'm in highway maintenance. I'm fixing potholes, cleaning ditches, changing culverts out, just taking care of the highways. So
cool.
Nothing of a mechanic. But it's the same thing. It's all problem solving. We got a problem, we got to fix it.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes hand in hand that way.
Using the resources that you have and solving the problems that are ahead of you.
Absolutely.
Cool. How long have you been into cars and trucks and doing this kind of stuff?
I've been into cars my whole life. I didn't realize I was as much into cars as I am, but it's been my whole life. My dad was into cars. It's been my whole life. I used to go to shows with my dad and whatnot. He never actually had a car that we would take to a show. My dad passed away now, but he always wanted to build these cars and wanted to get them done and wanted to all these great plans and big dreams, and they never came to fruition. At least from my perspective, it never seemed like that. And I think that's probably why I build the way I do, because I want to drive the things. I'm not going to have this car sitting around for 17 years and then never do anything with it. I'm going to get it on the road, and even if it's not finished, we're going to drive it, because what's the point otherwise to me? Yeah. So that's a big part of my drive, to build cars semi as quick as I can.
Okay. So all right. So even if it's not for a competition, you're putting a time schedule on it to keep yourself
internally. Okay.
Yep.
Yep. Yes. I just don't want it to be the point where I'm going to do this and then never do that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We've all had situations where we've probably seen a car that some guy is going to build, and you try and buy that car. I'm going to build it one day. I'm going to build it one day. I'm going to build it one day. 15 years later, it's still sitting in the exact same spot. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do that. Right. I'm not going to do that.
I agree. Yep.
So.
Yep. Well said. Yeah. So because you grew up around it and you had that family tie with car stuff and being automotive and just working with your hands and problem solving, all those things. Does that go back to New Zealand? At the beginning, we were talking about where you're from, and is there a car culture in New Zealand?
There is a car culture in New Zealand. It's a lot different, honestly. It's not as easy and accessible to get parts, because New Zealand, it's a couple small islands down by Australia. I mean, it's not easy to get stuff down there, and things are far more expensive. And then just to get stuff even from the States down there, it's expensive. There is a car culture there, but it's probably more centered around tuners and small cars, because that's what's there.
Sure.
I don't remember being in the car culture when I was younger. I remember my dad having vehicles, but they were just daily drivers to me. That's what they looked like, and he probably really enjoyed what they were, because they were like a Ute or a Land Cruiser or stuff like that, and he used them for his business. But as far as car culture that I recall from being a kid, I didn't really start realizing about car culture until we were in California. And I'd go with my dad on the weekends, and we work in, he had cars at a friend's, I don't know where it was, but it was a friend's property. Would go work on cars that my dad had purchased and was fixing and selling, and just kind of tooling around with them.
Sure. And how old were you when you were living in California?
I lived in California from 10 to 14, so just a few short years there.
Okay. I mean, it's an influential time in a kid's life.
Very. So, and honestly, I used to hate going to work on the cars with my dad, and then it was, I could be a little bit of a troublemaker and rebel rouser when I was younger, and one of the deals was I couldn't stay home. I had to go with my dad to work on the cars on the weekend, and it started out as like a punishment, but then I started to enjoy it.
Cool.
And I'm sure that had some influence of it. And then when we got to Minnesota, my parents had some property, and my dad could collect more cars and parts, and just kind of followed the line, I guess.
Yeah, that's cool. So your dad is teaching you as you're there with him helping, or
no? I think I'm just observing.
Okay. Watching him do it.
Just observing and seeing, and I've always been kind of the person that wants to figure it out myself, and and if I don't, it's gonna suck. But I still usually try, or and he was always there if I needed assistance, whatever, like adjusting rockers on a motor. He'd come over and help. I had mud trucks before I even started doing the whole car thing, so he'd come and help me with that stuff if I needed or whatever. But
cool.
He was always there if I needed help. But yeah, it wasn't. He was more of a carpenter than a mechanic. He was really smart and he could do it. I think his passion was more carpentry stuff.
Oh, okay. Was that kind of his career? He was
a carpenter by trade.
Wow. Okay.
So he built my parents' house, everything.
Wow.
Yeah, he was very talented in that way. And it's probably where I get some of my problem solving skills from, in that aspect,
I can relate. My dad's a carpenter, and I don't do anything with wood. Like,
I can't stand it.
I can't hang a door. I can't put cabinets in. I can't like none of that. I didn't want anything to do with it.
No, I don't want nothing to do with it. I will reluctantly, and I'll drag my feet on it. But no, my dad was really good at it. Really good at it.
It's cool. Good for it. It's sad that we lost your dad, but he's passed on some of his love and his appreciation and passion for some of those things. And now, are you a family man? Do you have kids of your own now?
Yeah, I got 2 stepkids and 1 of my own. So
cool.
The boys are older; they're 20s now. So I mean, they're off kind of living their own lives.
Okay.
The oldest one, yep. The oldest one is cars, motorcycles, trucks.
Nice.
He enjoys coming down and driving the cars once in a while. So
cool.
He lives a few hours north of us, so we don't see him all the time. But when he does come around, he likes to take stuff out.
Yeah.
I can't drive them all, so somebody should drive them. You know, I get a favorite here and there, but can't drive them all. And then my daughter, she likes to come out and help in the garage once in a while, but she loves going to the car shows. Absolutely loves it. Loves going to see our car show friends. Loves hanging out with people.
Right on.
So
that's cool.
Yeah. First thing she usually asks me when we get to the weekend, are we going to any car shows this weekend? You know,
nice.
It's her thing.
That's cool. That's cool. Now you have a YouTube channel yourself, and you've been doing a lot of these kind of projects, and some of the people watching probably already recognize you or see some of what you've already been building.
It's a possibility,
yeah.
I have a very small channel.
I do too, so I can relate. But tell me about some of what you do there, and like, what was the impetus behind wanting to start a channel? And
so the whole reason I even started doing videos was because I'm from New Zealand. I have family that are still in New Zealand.
Okay.
And it was kind of during COVID. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to make some videos so my family in New Zealand, I got aunts, uncles, cousins, whatever, can see what I'm doing over here. Because I had noticed, I think I had seen one of my cousins doing a video showing what they're doing. I'm like, that's really cool, but here's what I'm doing, you know? Yeah. And that's kind of how it started. I just made a stupid Simon Says Garage name. It didn't mean anything on TikTok. And then people started like following along. I'm like, well, maybe people want to see what I'm doing.
Cool.
And the TikTok thing, I don't know if you followed what happened with TikTok, but TikTok with the car community really started burying videos and not showing people. And I would post a video of me cutting something with a torch, or using a grinder or using a welder, and it was taken down every time for violation of their policies or whatever, because it was an unsafe act.
Oh, wow.
It got to the point where almost every video I put up, even though they were only 1 minute to 3 minutes long, I was having to resubmit as an appeal to have somebody else look at it. Sometimes they got through and sometimes they didn't. It just kind of be like, this isn't worth it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then I started doing some longer form stuff on YouTube, and I got a few people I like to watch, and now it's just become a hobby-ish thing that I do on the side and dedicate way more time to it than I probably should, but I don't know why I don't stop. I just keep doing it.
Yeah. Well, and it's a way for your hobby and your passion, your artwork, things like that, to show the world. But then when you start getting people that really like seeing it, then it kind of pushes you to do more, right? It
Absolutely.
Keeps you off the couch, if nothing else.
Yeah.
So in a way, because I can relate, I've wanted to take a week off, or, turns into 3 weeks. It's like, I really need to post something. Well, if I'm going to post something, I better get out in the garage and do something, build something, or create something. And so in a way, you're doing it for the audience, but you're doing it for yourself, but they're watching. I don't know. It's
an outlet.
Yeah.
It's a creative outlet.
It's a creative outlet. Yeah.
It's a lot of work, but it's a creative outlet. And I'm not trying to teach anybody anything. I'm not trying to show anybody the correct way to do anything.
Sure.
I'm just trying to show you that you can do this even if you don't know how to do it. And who cares if it's not right? Stop leaving your cars in the garage until they're perfect. Anybody that asks me for any advice, even Scotty from Scotty's Customs, I've been doing a few videos on helping him get his truck up and running for him. I'm like, and he's talking to me about things, and I'm like, dude, just get it driving, get it on the road. All the other stuff, the cosmetics, the perfection stuff, the stuff that really bothers you, do it after you're already on the road and enjoying the thing. Otherwise, it just drags out, or you get unmotivated or discouraged. Drive it, then you'll know what you want to do, and you'll know what you want, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to spend all the high dollar money on everything. There are alternatives.
That's right. Well said, man.
So
yeah, preach.
Well, I'm just trying to
love it,
encourage and help as many people as I can, because there's needs more positivity in the world, I guess.
Yeah, that's right, man. Absolutely. So. And you could be the encouragement that somebody needs to get back on a project that maybe stalled out for them.
Absolutely.
Or, you know, it's like, yeah, Uncle so-and-so has something out back. I should really ask him about that and see if I can get it running again.
That'd be awesome.
You know, things like that need to happen more.
Yeah,
so.
Just get it running and driving.
Yeah.
Stay within your skill set. Don't.
We're all learning as we go.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Plenty of times I'm doing something and I stop and say, yeah, this is how not to do it. I found out the tough way. You know, I tried to roll my fenders to, you know, not scrape my tires, and I destroyed 2 fenders. I was like, all right, here's how not to do it, you know?
I'll just show, I'm not afraid to show where I screw up either, you know?
Yeah.
It's the best way to learn. I mean, I'll know for next time that I don't do that because that didn't work. Yeah, I screw up a lot, so I learn a lot.
Yeah. Are you working by yourself all the time?
All the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're doing your own editing, your own everything on the channel.
Yep.
Okay.
All the stuff I build's all me. All the editing is all me. All the posting, it's all me. So there's some gaps in there sometimes because the guy just needs a mental checkout because when you're working full time, have a family and life, bills are still coming in. You gotta take care of yourself once in a while. So
that's right, and that's smart. Especially with social media stuff. I mean, there's so much negativity or people throwing rocks that it's like, no, you have to like put up some mental walls sometimes and just say, I'm just gonna keep doing me.
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
I haters don't bother me at all. Cool. I've been picked on my whole life. You're not gonna start when I'm 45 years old picking on me and think it's gonna matter now. I mean, I'm past that in my life, you know.
Sure.
So if anybody's gonna start YouTube, just be prepared.
Yeah. Yep.
Doesn't matter what you think is perfect. It's somebody's gonna criticize it.
Yep. That's part of it for sure. Cool. If you could go back and talk to 14-year-old Simon and give him some advice, what would you say?
Stop worrying so much about what other people think. It's hard to know that, and it's hard to learn that, but you got to stop worrying about it so much. Yeah. And I still, to this day, I worry about it. I mean, I'm wearing a Dilly Gap shirt right now, but my peers and my friends, you know, it's not so much for them, I want people to, I don't want to have to worry about what other people say. Like, it shouldn't matter to me. And I really wish I could have learned that at a younger age. So. Yeah,
that's cool. Well said. Now, do you have some ties with, you mentioned Scotty, but do you have some ties with other hot rodders and other like Rat Rod Magazine and things like that? I mean, you're making some friends that are in that car culture and
I have some extremely talented friends I'm even privileged to be able to call them a friend.
That's really, really cool. And I love that this community is so like helpful and inclusive in that way. Like
so
everybody's
inclusive.
Like, hey, it's all right. None of us are doing this perfectly. So come on in and be a part of that.
As long as you're open to people that are willing to give you advice, you know, and you're not going to crap on them for trying to help you. I mean, it's such an inclusive, and I could reach out to 5 people right now if I had a question and I would get an answer.
That's cool.
Or direction on who to talk to. Travis Nord's been huge for that. Troy Gubser out of Nebraska is huge for that. Gert Ratworks, he's helpful. I mean, there's people north of the cities here. Chris Walker, Jason Walker, Corey Anderson. I mean, there's so many people. Jerry and Tracy from Rat Rod Magazine, they are so supportive. Yeah. And they don't have to be at all. I mean, they're busy off doing their own thing and creating such great stuff for the community. And they're great.
Yeah. And they're down to earth people.
Very.
I mean, you know, salt of the earth, like dirt under their fingernails.
They'll sit and have a conversation with you.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
It's amazing.
Very cool.
It's such a cool community to be a part of.
Love it. Is there anything about your car or your build that we missed or that we forgot about? Oh, I wanted to ask you about the fuel cell on it.
Oh.
Yeah. Tell me about, I mean, you're obviously not using this gas filler door anymore.
No.
You fill it with diesel on the other side. What would you use for a fuel cell?
That is a saddle tank out of a 90 F350, F550 U-Haul truck.
Whoa.
So
Okay.
yeah, I
Cool.
found that I was looking for a fuel tank. I didn't know what I was going to use. I just kept scrolling Marketplace every night looking for stuff I shouldn't buy, and it popped up. It was local-ish.
Yeah.
I took it to my buddy Jeff. That's where that car was stored at. That's the same place.
Okay.
And he cut it down so it would fit between my frame rails for me while I was doing all the rest of this stuff. So he cut it down, re-welded it back together for me, and it sits right between the frame rails.
Dang.
So
That's cool.
that's what that is. It's a way heavier and way bigger of a tank than I need. But
How many gallons about?
I honestly don't even know.
Okay.
I never filled it up originally, like all the way, because I didn't know if it was going to leak, because we're a couple backyard welders welding it together. I've had to weld it twice more to fix leaks in it in the seam. I think we're good now. But
at least there's diesel inside and not like 93 octane or something
yeah,
like that.
no.
You're like,
yeah, no, it's
diesel's
just
not
diesel.
gonna blow up on you.
Yeah, it's fine. But yeah, so I honestly don't know. I'm working on, so because it's a saddle tank, I found the number on it for the sending unit on it. So I've found a sending unit on eBay, which is on its way to me right now. I'm trying to hook up a fuel gauge to it to make a fuel gauge work. So I don't know. Once I get a fuel gauge in it, then I'll be able to figure out how many gallons and how many miles per gallon I'm getting and whatnot. But as of right now, I don't know.
For now, you're just topping off every 200 miles or whatever. And
yeah. Whenever I'm like, I haven't put any fuel in it for a while, I should probably put some in it. Because I can't even stab a stick in there. It's got some, I suppose, anti-siphon deal in it on the inside. So
Gotcha.
I can't even stick the tank to find out. I put 10 gallons in it before I came over here today, and it clicked. So I think it's full. But I don't know how much was in it before I put the 10 gallons in. So
I love your style, man. That's cool. Hey.
It'll work or it won't. I don't know.
Yeah. That's really cool. What was that like to look at a 7.3 and then think, I'm going to try and get that to sit in an S10 frame, and then I'm going to try and wrap this little narrow Ford, front clip on top of that? Like, you had to be looking at these three pieces going, all right, I know I can cut and make this work, but...
No, I didn't know.
Oh, man. Like, there had to be parts in this project where you're thinking, what did I get myself into? Huh?
So originally I had bought a small block 350.
Okay.
It was cheap. I still have it. It's still sitting underneath my bench. And I'm like, I don't know if that's weird enough.
Everybody does that.
Yeah. And I didn't want a Cummins because everybody does Cummins, just like LS's. I have nothing against them, and I'm not disappointed in anybody's build with one, but I didn't want to do that for myself. Looking back, it probably would have been a little easier on the whole wiring side of things, but so I had done some rough Googling of dimensions, but until you see it, you don't realize how big that motor is.
Oh,
so
it's massive. It's an international harvester. It's not just a Ford engine. It's like
like that whole doghouse in there where the shifter is and all that is all removable because my transmission mount is welded in solid.
Oh wow!
Because I don't know that I can get my car high enough in my garage to get that transmission out from underneath it. And if I could, I don't know if I could lift that transmission up into there.
Sure.
So it's set up that in theory, it should just come outside the driver's door. I just pull the transmission tunnel out, that whole thing to the back will come out of there. It's all bolted in.
Really?
So I can disassemble and remove the transmission out through the door.
Just like use a cherry picker or something.
If I wanted to, I could stick a cherry picker in there and pick it out that way. And then the motor is as low as it could go and still giving me like 2 or 3 inches of clearance before it hits the ground if it's aired out.
Wow. Okay.
So it's not like it's
that far ahead.
Yeah, it's not like it's sticking up because I wanted it sticking up out of the hood. I didn't mind it sticking up out of the hood, but it's as low as I could physically get it. I had to notch out the frame to get the starter to fit.
Wow.
So she is as low as she's going.
Got it. Okay.
So
wow.
I didn't know. I mean, I figured it had to fit one way or the other. It just depends how much more I got to cut to make it fit.
Wow.
So
and did you use the radiator and core support from the Expedition then, or what did you do there?
So the radiator and fan is a radiator that I took out of my Nova when I upgraded the cooling system on my Nova, and it was just sitting in the garage. The radiator out of the Powerstroke, if I was to stand that here, it's probably this tall.
They're huge.
Amazingly huge.
Yeah.
Really cool. All aluminum, and it'd be good for something in the future. So I've still got it, but yeah, that was never going to work.
Okay.
So then I just kind of cut the core support apart and got sections of it, like the mounts to hold the intercooler, because it's got the factory intercoolers in there.
Okay.
And then I just molded, so underneath the hood, the top part of the core support is from the Excursion.
Okay.
So that's how the intercooler mounts, and then the radiator, I just made mounts for it and wired it in. So the plumbing for the intercoolers, I had to extend the pipes for the intercooler and make all that work.
And the intercooler is like 5-inch or something, isn't it?
It's got to be 3 or 4.
Is it 3? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's 5.
All right. It's really big.
It's big.
And then you didn't have a problem with your cooling hoses being, because you used a different radiator from, you said the Nova?
Oh, yeah, it's from Nova. I had to, that's all.
But it works.
Rerouted and joints, and I had to put a fitting in it on top, and the top upper radiator hose with a cap on it, because the motor sat higher than the top of the radiator.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So
to get everything to bleed out,
to get everything,
put your cap at the highest point. Got it. Okay.
So, and then that was all visible before I put the hood on it, and now it's got the hood on it. I wanted a hood from day one, and the reason it didn't have one at the build-off is because I just never found one. Actually, a guy local in town here, Dustin, who was also in the build-off, who didn't get his done, had one hanging on his wall for a 49. So that hood's for a 49, and if you look at the front of it, it's got the circle cut out for the big bullet on the front of those. I'm not sure if you're familiar with those, but the 49s had just one big bullet on the front of it. So that hood's not even supposed to be on that car. Everybody told me I would never get a hood to work on that car.
Hey,
so that meant I had to get a hood to work on that car. And I actually just it's got a latch on it now. The latch off the 51, I just had to raise it up, I think 1.5 inches. And now it latches into the hood for the 49. So,
dude, that's cool.
I didn't want anything on the outside of the hood. I wanted the hood to be as smooth and round as possible, other than the rebar and stuff. But
yeah, that's cool. Just keep trimming till it fits like you want.
Yeah, that's all you can do. That's all you can do.
It. What are your hood hinges?
Those are like barn door hinges or something.
Cool.
So I originally just left them lay flat on there, but because there's a radius in the hood and the cowl, they want to open up at different directions.
Sure.
So I had to cut them apart and level them off and make them all work, and now it works perfect.
That's awesome.
So
that's cool. The steering wheel, is that the original wheel to the car?
That is the original wheel in the car. It's not going to stay though.
Oh, okay.
I just haven't got to that yet. I'm going to build a steering wheel for it, because I've never built a steering wheel before. So this seems like the perfect application for that. And the main reason I want to build it is because that steering wheel was so big, because this power steering, if it even had power steering, it just was like it is today. And this has power steering, so it turns really easily.
Nice.
But with that big steering wheel, it's really close to my transmission tunnel that it's not comfortable. So I want to make something a little smaller.
Yep. Got it.
Yep.
That totally makes sense. I love that you built in armrests and like things like that into the car, because you knew you were going to drive it. This isn't just to sit still and look cool. Like
those armrests are actually the headrest off of my creepers that both broke while building this car. So
I love that, man. That's so cool. Taking something like, let's just use it on the build.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I had it. I needed something, so it worked.
I love it. That's so cool. Do you have a favorite part of the car or of the build, of the process?
Right now, it's ever changing, but right now it's the interior. I'm so proud of that interior, and
you should be.
It just turned out way better than I could have ever imagined. I wish I had time to do that before even the build off.
Wow. I
don't know that it would change anything, and it doesn't matter that it would have changed everything, but I'm so happy with it.
That's cool. Your headliner is so fun. I didn't even see it until we jumped in the car. I was like, oh man, this is so cool.
Yeah, it's fun watching that when you're cruising on the highway. That thing just kind of does one of these deals, and it's just satisfying to watch sometimes.
Yeah. Where did you find that fabric?
I had actually done it in my Bel Air first.
Okay.
I put a blue one in there because I was looking for something fun to do in there, and and when I did it in there, I'm like, well, now I got to do it in this one, and orange is my color, so that's what we went with.
That's great. You did it yourself, but do you have like a backing behind it, or you just Get the fabric and spray glue.
Spray glue and right to the ceiling.
Just stays right there.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
And I know it'll hold because it's held in the other car. So
yeah. Windows down, doesn't matter. It's not falling on you.
The heat of the sun beacon on it. It's actual headliner glue, so it's holding.
It's doing its job. I love it, man. That's cool. And plexiglass for your side windows, you said.
I actually this side window here, it's Velcroed in, so I can take that out. So I can get more airflow through there.
Cool. Velcro. I wouldn't have even thought of that.
Yeah.
That's a cool idea.
A buddy of that did it to his side windows on the doors. I'm like, well, that's not a bad idea. Maybe I can do it to these windows. Heck yeah. So I just tried it on this one, and it's held up so far. I mean, we were cruising today, and it was holding.
Yeah. I love it. Are your wheels different bolt pattern front to rear because it's Chevrolet and Ford? Or the same thing? Same
thing.
Okay, so you can get matching wheels all the way around.
They're not the same thing because of Chevy and Ford. They're the same thing because this is Ford and I put an adapter in the front.
Got it. Okay.
So that was kind of a twofold thing when I originally built this, and I tried to put shocks in the front. Turn the wheels, there's no room for the shocks. So now with this spacer and this wheel setup, when I turn the wheel, there will be room for shocks. I just haven't got there yet.
Okay.
So
cool.
But yeah, these are the original 51 Ford wheels.
That is cool.
And I'm going to build wheel covers for it and stuff like that. I'm going to, skirt it.
Yeah, because these aren't skirts. It just tucks that much when you're aired out.
Correct.
And once you skirt it, like it's going to just completely disappear.
I've cut 4 inches out of that wheel well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So when I went to rat stock with it last year for the build off, I was nervous I wasn't going to be able to get my wheels off because the wheel wells on these things are really narrow or really small.
Yeah.
So I cut 4 inches out of that so I could get the wheels off. I now can't get the wheels off again, but I don't know what I'm going to do about that problem. Just take my shocks off, I suppose, and let it drop down more. Let it drop enough.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's going to get skirted for sure. It'll be something out of rebar and probably some expanded steel and whatever else I got laying around.
Yeah. As long as it's removable,
that's all that matters.
All that matters.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's one of the plans that you have for the future of the car. Is there anything else that you're going to change and do in the immediate future? Yeah, the motor stuff. I want to clean the motor up, get rid of some of the extra garbage on there that I don't need, and then just dress it up a little bit, probably injectors, maybe delete some emissions stuff that I don't need for a 1951 vehicle that didn't exist. Totally.
So just nothing crazy, because I want it to still be a cruiser. I don't want it to become this thing that more than it already is. You know, you start performing things up too much. Yeah. There's that line where you start crossing where every time you take it out, you're breaking other things, and I don't want to go down that road. I just want to be able to cruise it and enjoy it. Yeah. Yeah. Leave it dependable-ish. As dependable as it is now. Right. And it hasn't, knock on wood, hasn't left me stranded yet. So cool. I had to drive it back from halfway home from rat stock because I broke my trailer. Oh. So we had to unload it and drive it back. So wow. She's got a few miles on her. It's not even a year old yet, but she's got a few miles on her. That's cool. Where's your battery at? In the front. Okay, it is? Okay. Yeah, we haven't lifted the hood yet. So it's got dual batteries. Okay. And they're mounted in what would be the factory location for the Excursion, because I didn't want to spend the money on battery cable to put them in the trunk. So I get it. I made some mounts, and they kind of tuck up underneath the fenders, and they're both up there. Cool. Cool. I love it. Great stuff, man. Is there anything that we forgot to talk about on it? If we did, I forgot too. So okay. I mean, yeah, there's a lot going on with this thing. There's not much I haven't touched. Yeah. We can get it out and do a walk around. Yeah, we can do that too. Yeah, sure. Yep, absolutely. Do you have any other current projects that you're doing right now on the channel, or are you doing stuff on this car? So I've been working on Scotty's truck. He's got that back now. So now I'm kind of turning my attention back to this. As far as a build, not right now. Maybe not right now. Okay. I kind of want to do the tour, the Rat Rod tour. I'm sure you guys have probably heard about that. You bet. I'd like to bring a camper with for that. So that may happen, or I might work on my wife's truck. I was supposed to build my wife a Rat Rod truck, and then this kind of trumped it. And I keep saying I'm going to do it, and I will do it. Just it's time.
Sure.
But
sure.
And then if they do a build off again, I will absolutely throw my hat in that again if I'm able.
Awesome. Good
so I got a few things that I want to do. What I end up doing, I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm just tinkering with this a little.
Cool. That's very cool. If people want to watch you, where can they find your content and social media stuff?
Yeah, it's all Simon Says Garage, simon.says.garage. And I'm on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I'm not very active on Instagram, and TikTok whenever they let me post on there. But yeah, YouTube, Facebook, I'm out there.
Love it. Well, guys, go check this guy out because he's doing some amazing work out there. So guys, definitely go check out Simon Says Garage because he's doing some amazing stuff over there. And you can learn right along with him how he's doing things. And it's a lot of fun. Thank you for sitting down with us today.
Absolutely.
And talking about your build and some of your history and your projects that you've been doing, man. It's so much fun. Guys, we want to thank our Patreon supporters. You guys are why we can be here doing what we do. Thank you to WireCare. They've been sponsoring the channel. And so WireCare is taking really good care of us. We want you guys to go check out some of their products over there at wirecare.com. And as always, thank you guys for coming along on the Piece of Grease podcast. We'll catch you next week.
Oh, he's alive. He's alive.